Hello everyone. So yeah, today I'm planning on walking
54
miles. I actually have to dub that over because when I tried entering this route into Google Maps, it can't comprehend what I'm trying to do.
So while it does have the general layout, it doesn't really have all the trails planned out. Like, this part is supposed to go up and connect back down to here, and I don't even know. They didn't even try going through this part properly.
So yeah, I don't actually know how long this route is. I also don't have a plan for this video. I guess I'm just gonna do like a 1 hour check-in. And in the meantime, I might show some B-roll of anything, particularly exciting to look at. I probably have to put in a disclaimer. This is probably very stupid, and you probably shouldn't try this.
Alright, shout out to my Feiyu Pocket, because this audio is so terrible, I'm just gonna have to dub this over. So what did I bring along to walk 50 miles? First off, I had two 24-ounce water bottles, and obviously that is not enough, and I did have to stop to get more. As for food, I pretty much only had protein bars on me. Again, another disclaimer, this is probably very stupid. Santa Barbara doesn't really get too hot or cold, so I was pretty much only wearing sweatpants, a t-shirt, and a zip-up hoodie. The dumbest part of all this is that I wore brand new shoes, and there's a chance that they don't fit me properly, so I could get blisters midway through and I would be forced to stop. So at the end of the video, I'll compare these shoes to a brand new pair and just see how much damage I did in one day. The first hour was fairly boring. I went from my apartment to a shopping center, through a bunch of business parks, and finally to Lake Los Carneros Park. The fishing pond and the mountains make for a very nice view when it's not cloudy, and there's also a railway museum. Here are the stats for the first hour, and I started off at a pretty brisk pace. It was pretty much flat though, so it's not that impressive.
So the first hour is over. But right now I am on Cathedral Oaks. The next stop will be Tucker's Grove. Is it Tucker's Grove? I don't actually know what it's called. Anyway, I think the next hour or so is kind of boring. Just kind of a street. If I'm being honest, there's not much around me.
The second hour was extremely boring. I was pretty much just going along this street the entire time, and it's all residential, so there's nothing to really look at other than people's houses. The only thing I recorded in the entire hour was this portion of the street where there are trees in the median, and that was pretty much it. Here are the stats, and I was still doing around 4-ish miles an hour, a bit under.
Alright, so it is now hour 2.
So I kinda screwed up all of these hourly check-in clips. Instead of saying that the hour has begun, I actually meant to say that the hour has passed. So here I actually meant that hour 2 has ended and hour 3 has begun.
I'm at Tucker's Grove Park. If I head forward, there is a trailhead up ahead, and it's 7:40 by the way, that's why there's nobody here. I started at like 5:40. Probably a bit overkill if I'm being honest. All I've had is 3 RX bars. They're certainly a lot different than what I expected. What does it remind me of? It's like that dried fruit candy, like a fruit roll-up, and like an actual bar. I can't really say those are really good, but they're all I have at the moment, so too bad, so sad. I don't know how visible that is, but in 2 hours I have 14,000 steps and around 6 miles.
I spent the first part of hour 3 going through San Antonio Creek Trail, and it's a pretty nice little wooded area.
I think the creek has dried up. Uh, huh.
Half of the trail is pretty enjoyable. The other half, on the other hand, not so much.
There's like 3 feet of vegetation, and then that's a highway right there. That's the 154. I'm pretty much pinned between some private property fences, this super narrow trail, and a highway. I forgot this part. I'm basically walking on the side of a highway right now. That's very reassuring.
So here's a weird quirk about trails in Santa Barbara. One entrance will have pretty good pedestrian infrastructure, but then the other entrance will just be on the side of a road, where cars are going past at like 30 miles an hour. There's like no shoulder, so I'm pretty much just jumping into loose dirt every time a car goes by.
It kind of seems like the rest of today is going to be overcast, which is bad for photos, but good for walking.
I finished off the rest of the hour by making my way into San Marcos foothills. Here are the stats for hour 3, and I'm definitely slowing down a little bit with every hour.
Alright, it is now hour 3. So I've made it from Tucker's Grove to San Antonio Creek Trail, and now I'm at San Marcos Foothills. I haven't actually drank any water since I left my apartment.
When it comes to long walks like this, what I eat or drink eventually will come back out. Since I was going through a residential area, I avoided drinking anything at all. Residential areas are pretty much the worst case scenario. In a more busy area, you can always hop into a store. Even when it comes to trails, I've definitely stumbled across people handling their business. But if you're in a residential area and you gotta go, you're pretty much out of luck. Anyway, I was suffering from sleep deprivation or something, because somehow this turned into a rant against influencers. Don't know how that happened.
And his only personality trait is that he has a Lamborghini and a lot of subscribers on YouTube. Like, why the hell are people idolizing this guy? I don't know. I never understood influencer mentality.
This can of Guava Monster was the first thing I drank that day. It didn't taste as bad as I expected, but it definitely still has that zero sugar substitute aftertaste that just sucks.
So I basically chugged the entire Monster in like 5 minutes. That might not be a good idea, depending on how far I could make it before it eventually comes back out. Anyway, it's kind of a pain when I have empty cans, because I can't throw them in my bag, because there's always still freaking liquid in them. If I throw it in my bag, everything's just gonna get soaked in whatever beverage I was drinking. I don't know, I don't like cans. And I don't even know how far the next recycling bin is.
Alright, so here I go on a little rant about recycling, because on any hike, or even any walk for that matter, I've never actually littered on the ground, because I don't want to be that douche who does that. So when I have empty beverage containers, I've walked miles to the nearest recycling bin. Meanwhile, even though my school, UC Santa Barbara, is fairly left-leaning, I find that people don't really care about recycling at all, and it's kind of shocking. I've taken one of those environmental studies courses where the guy on stage was like, "We needed to take action 3 decades ago. Things are really bad." But as I was exiting the lecture hall, I watched this girl throw an empty can of Red Bull into the trash can. I'm sitting here shocked. I'm like, I've walked miles to recycle, and you can't walk 10 feet to the nearest recycling bin? Why the hell are you even here?
So, yeah, this is the worst part of San Marcos foothills. It's basically just a very steep drop-off for no reason. There was a plank that was sticking out, like last time. I think it was one of these planks, actually. There was like a plank bridge, and these things are so slippery. I slipped and I nearly fell on my ass. So that was fun.
The stats this time around are a little misleading because I took a 10-minute break. I had to mute this clip because of copyrighted music, but all I was saying is that hour 4 has passed, and I have made it to the target. It was weird because I always thought this was a super grand detour by going through the creek and through the foothills, but it only really ended up adding an hour to the total route. Even though I spent the past 2 hours walking through a forested area, the plan from here was to go along State Street, go up to Stevens Park, and eventually make my way up to Inspiration Point. In hour 5, I cracked open a can of Celsius. Quick review, it kinda just tastes like chemicals, but it's not as bad as a Monster. Made my way to Stevens Park, and started on the 3-hour journey up to Inspiration Point. Remember earlier when I was happy that it was cloudy? That's mainly because it's more cool, so I don't have to worry too much about dehydration or heat stroke, and also there's less UV radiation that damages my skin. It turns out I spoke too soon.
What is this? What is this? It's goddamn sunlight. No, God.
Here, I actually did a recreation of the Michael Scott No meme. For both of our sakes, I've decided to cut out that cringy part from this video. But yeah, I was not happy. I already struggle with this part on a good cloudy day, and on this day specifically, the sun couldn't come out before or after I started to do this part. A couple weeks before doing this, there was a bear walking around my school, and my school is kind of isolated, because to the south there's only an ocean, to the east there's a city, to the west there's more ocean, and the only way I can think of that the bear came from is from the north, which is where I'm currently walking. So at this point, I was thinking that there is a non-zero possibility that I might encounter a bear.
Alright, it is now hour 5. I'm in the middle of... I actually don't know where I am. I think I'm still in Stevens Park. The part before I reach, Jesucita Trail. Anyway, the sun's out. Kind of, it's partly cloudy. It's actually not too bad. If you want a step count, I'm not sure how visible that is, but I'm at 33,000, and according to the app, it's around 14 miles.
I'm not sure why my phone is this inaccurate. It should have my GPS location, so there shouldn't be any doubt of how many miles I've gone. But according to the official GPX file that I recorded, I should be at like 18 miles by this point. For the 6th hour, I realized that I had to lock in. The only thing I was focused on was moving forward. For the past couple hours, I was actually listening to an audiobook the entire time. I had to stop it because while I was listening to the words, none of it was actually processing in my brain. The same thing happened with my phone and with my camera. I wasn't really trying to record at this point.
So, just as I feared, the sun absolutely sucks. I've only got one bottle left, and I also have one bottle of Boost, which is around 8 ounces of water. Man, this is why I don't like the sun. Anyway, I should probably shut up now because talking is apparently bad. So I'm not sure how apparent this is, but this is the worst case scenario, because it's completely harsh sunlight towards the mountainside, but if I look towards the city side, completely covered by clouds. And they kind of look like rain clouds too. So, by the time I make it up this stupid mountain and make it to Inspiration Point, there's nothing to be inspired by, because I'm gonna end up looking at a giant cloud layer. Fantastic. That's a stupid Moltres right there. I did not plan this at all, but once I make it out of the forested area, I know I have like decent reception here, so that's why I popped my daily adventure incense on Pokemon Go.
For those of you who don't play the game, getting one of these birds to spawn is incredibly rare. So for me to get it to spawn on top of a mountain, I figured, screw it, it might as well be worth using my Master Ball on. Too bad the IVs are kind of whatever, but I can't complain too much about it.
So here I am. Yeah, I don't think it's visible. I forgot the pineapple. Oops. Shit. 1400 CP. It's 1 star. Oh my god. It's time to keep going, I guess. I think I'm at 18 ounces of water left. Thankfully, I should be pretty close to Inspiration Point at this point.
I was so distracted by that stupid bird that I forgot to mention that was the end of hour 6.
Alright, it is around 6 hours and 15 minutes, and I have made it from my apartment, which is somewhere over there. I'm actually not too sure because of the poor visibility, but usually I should be able to make out. I think that spot is the airport, which means, yeah, my apartment should be somewhere over there. And what was I saying? Yeah, it took around 6 hours to make it from my apartment to here. Anyway, I mentioned earlier that this is the worst of both worlds, because if you look behind me, mountains are perfectly sunny, brilliant, right? Photogenic as hell. And then if I look towards the city, what the hell is that? Pretty much the tough part is all over, and it's all just relatively flat from this point onward. I mean, just look at the city. Like, there's no elevation.
Okay, so I'm like 60% sure that this flat part is the airport, and it's pretty cool to see how far I've gone. So I spent a bit of time up there chilling out. This was the first break I took that day, and the rest of hour 7 was just spent descending down.
Alright, so it is hour... what is it? It's hour 7, and I am pretty much nearly out of Inspiration Point Trail. In terms of step count, I'm at 44,101, around 18.46 miles. So yeah, nothing's changed since my last update. My next stop is still Mission Santa Barbara. So, yeah. So, I've made it out of Tunnel Trail, and once again, oh boy, I do believe it's like another 2 miles of this before I make it to the mission, so, that's gonna be fun. I'm not sure how visible that is, but there's literally a memory lane. I don't know how I never noticed that. That's pretty funny.
Don't get me wrong, I love the city, and I know some of you out there have it a lot worse than this, but my god, does this suck.
Oh shit. Alright, oh my god. I'm finally out. From here on out, it's all sidewalks, baby. Oh boy. That was certainly, not fun. So, there it is, mission in Santa Barbara. I don't want to stay at Mission Santa Barbara too long, because I am still out of water, which is never a good situation to be in.
Wait, I was out of water? Did I forget to record that part? Ah, shit. Now that I think back on it, it happened during the descent, and I ran out of water before exiting the trail. So the road part I was doing while thirsty.
Alright, it is hour 8. I guess I'm just gonna do hourly step check-ins now. Where the hell is my cell phone? So, hour 8, I am at 50,529, 21.1 miles. I still forgot what road this is, but I am currently on the way to Grocery Outlet, because I am still out of water. So yeah, I'm just gonna get there as soon as possible.
Wow, I guess the fatigue, thirst, probable sleep deprivation, and hunger all compounded to drain the hell out of me, because I did not record anything in this hour. So I still have the receipt from that day. Let's see what I bought. Corn puffs, ding dongs, icebreakers, 2 protein shakes, fried seaweed, Coke Zero, and a Pepsi. My god, I have the impulse control of a 5-year-old. Route-wise, it was pretty basic. I stopped at the Grocery Outlet for a while and then started on my way downtown.
Alright, it's hour 9. I would be lying if I said I wasn't suffering from a pretty bad energy crash. But to my left there is Alice Keck Park. Guess I'm gonna go there and look at some ducks for a little bit. Afterward, I'm going to head up to the courthouse observation deck, and then from then on, I'm going to go on to Montecito. This is a very, very bad idea. What? Where are all the ducks? I have, never not seen any ducks here. Anyway, I don't know how visible that is, but that says 56,023 miles. Anyway, I don't know, my brain's not functioning anymore. I keep saying anyway too much. So the original plan was to go up to the observation tower, but I guess they're hosting an event today, because I don't know, I've never seen security people, like, doing bag sweeps at the tower before, so I guess I'm not doing that. Anyway, onward.
I wanted to go up to the courthouse viewing tower. It is one of the most scenic spots in downtown Santa Barbara. Now, there is also Franceschi Park and Ellings Park. I don't know if I'm butchering those names. While they are very picturesque, I wouldn't really say they're a part of downtown Santa Barbara, though. I spent the rest of the hour going through East Side Santa Barbara, before eventually taking a break at Santa Barbara Library East Side Branch. I don't know how visible that is, but when I went to charge one of my power banks, I ended up pushing the USB ports into the plastic housing.
I didn't record my hour 10 check-in, but because I was kind of at the library, and you know, I don't want to be a dick. As for steps, I'm at 61,000. That's 25.51 miles. A bit less than if I was going at full speed. I don't remember if this is the right way. Oh well, guess we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, I threw the rest of my route into Google, and it said that it's going to take me 4 hours to complete the rest of it. Now, Google is just an estimate, obviously, so I'm not going to bank too much on that.
I was really starting to feel it at this point, which is not good because I still have at least 9 miles to go. My calves started hurting around hour 10, which was the main reason why I took a break at the library, but even after restarting, this is noticeably slower than my normal walking pace. Route-wise, I was pretty much just following the crosstown bike route. I noticed that the sink in the Montecito Pavilions has a pretty laminar flow. That's kinda cool, you don't see that every day.
Alrighty, it is hour 11. Basically I just walked into the Safeway, I used their bathroom, and now I am walking out.
Now that I think back on it, I definitely could have cut this part out. I didn't really do anything in Montecito, I just kinda went for the sake of going.
We have a sidewalk that literally just ends. So, this is fun. Why do I keep forgetting the step check-in, man? I'm a trash YouTuber. Anyway, I'm not sure how visible that is, but it is 4:53, so 11 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm only at 66,000 or 27.7 miles. In front of me is the zoo, and to the right is the bird refuge. And I am technically not supposed to be here because it is a bike path. Fantastic.
At this point, I am going all the way down Cabrillo Boulevard. The original plan was for me to go down Stearns Wharf and come back out, but it's 5 p.m. At best, it takes 5 hours for me to go from Stearns Wharf to the apartment. So 10 p.m. is the best case scenario for when I will make it back, and obviously that's not realistic. So I'd rather have a 2-hour time buffer window for me to make it back before 12 a.m.
So, it's now hour 12. I have pretty much made it past all of the beaches, and I'm approaching Shoreline Park. If I wanted to take a more scenic route, I should have went to the right and went through Santa Barbara Community College. For me personally, it's a lot prettier than the UCSB campus. Quick step count before I forget. I am at 72,707, 30.39 miles. I don't even know if that mile count is accurate. I might have to go back, look at the GPX file when it finally is done to determine accurate mile counts.
For hour 13, I went through Shoreline Park and into another grocery store because I ran out of water again.
It is hour 13. I am currently heading to this open space. I am way too tired. I keep forgetting the step count, man. Oh my god. 78, 790, 32.94. So, this area, apparently it's called Douglas Family Preserve. I can kind of spot UCSB from here. I mean, that's kind of a stretch, but, there is like a random, like a pillar out there in the distance. I don't know how clear it is on camera. But that little outcrop, from my experience, should be Stork Tower. So, that right there is Ellings Park. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but, I might play some, like, B-roll of what it's like up there. It's certainly a very pretty park. But yeah, at this point, my calves are completely shot. I'm like walking at 0.75 of my max speed. I'm not going up there because there's still quite a distance to go. There's still quite a bit, so I'm not trying to do anything too stupid at this point in time.
When I'm walking, I don't really like it when there are bikes on the sidewalk, mainly because they are completely silent, and I don't notice them until they whoosh right by me and jump scare the living hell out of me. So I like being consistent and not being on a bike path whenever possible, but for some parts of this route, I really can't do anything about it because there is no other place for me to go, unless I just don't walk there.
Park. But this is a nice flat area, so I guess I'll go in for a bit. It is hour 14. Nothing has changed. I never want to have another stupid RX bar again in my life. Anyway, step count 84,247, 35.239. .101 overpass at sunset. Wow, you cannot see the sunset at all. It is hour 15 and I have entered I don't care anymore mode. Basically, at this point the only thing I care about is going back. My legs are super cooked, man. I'm super tired. I kind of wanted to go into Target, but like at some point they close, they lock the main doors that are facing this street, and you have to go around to the back entrance. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Screw that. It's not like I'm running low on water anyway. There's nothing much interesting. Are there crickets on the road? Why does it sound like the crickets are on the road? Anyway, there's not much interesting happening in the next like half hour or so. Wow, it's completely pitch black. Did I just say blark? I am tired. Anyway, it is it is pitch black to the camera, but there is still like a very slight glimmer of the sky. I think I've got like 5 more minutes left. It is hour 16. I pretty much just window shopped at the CVS and the Vons. I made it through the very dark portion, and from here on out, it's just kind of a city until I reach the airport. That is. Step-wise, I am at 95, 102, 39.7 miles. Did anything happen in the past hour? Oh yeah, I noticed that my calf was kind of hurting, my right one. So, I've dialed back the speed even further. Apparently, I'm about to hit 100k steps. I'm 400 away. Google Fit is weird because it only updates like every minute or so. Watch, I'm gonna reset it and it's gonna be there. There it is. 103.08. This is the worst app ever. You can't just live update your goddamn step count. I think I missed it off frame, but there. I don't know how visible that is. There it is.
The reason I was so mad is that Google Fit does not have a live step count. So I was just holding my phone in front of my camera for the past 5 minutes, waiting for this thing to magically update to the number. Except it didn't, and I needed to reset the app. From there, I went into the Ralph's in order to get something else to drink, and finally made it past Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital.
Alright, so it's not actually hour 17, but it's kind of close enough. On my main Google Fit account, it said I hit 100k, but this is the device that I've been using as my main pedometer, and as you can see, it's at 99. Anyway, it is 10:40. And I'm currently in Old Town Goleta. I don't know how audible that is, but it kind of sounds like there's like a jet plane taking off. It is hour 18. Well, it kind of looks like I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm like a solid maybe 100 maybe more like 1,000 feet away from the target. Anyway, to prove I ain't bullcrapping, there's a video of my Strava screen. It's 11:59. I'm around 0.3 miles away from the finish line, and yeah, I don't see any way of me making it in time. There it goes. It has reset. I am still a little bit away from the finish line, but that's it. That's it. I failed. I did not make it back in time.
So here is the route animation in all of its glory, and now that I've done this, would I ever recommend anyone try this? My honest answer is no. After a while, I think around the 80k steps mark, it definitely felt more like I might tear something with every step. It was not exercise, it was not beneficial, I was just doing something stupid for the sake of doing it. I could barely move the next day, and it took around 2 weeks before I was fully, 100%. For those of you who ended on this video for whatever reason, if you've made it this far, I want to thank you for watching. This is my first time really making one of these vlog type videos. If you have any ideas or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Alright, 1 day old shoes versus brand new shoes. If I'm being honest here, other than being extremely dusty, there isn't that much wear on it. You can see the corner is definitely worn down a little bit. The front part here is also worn down. I mean, look at that texture compared to a brand new one. I don't know, it's a lot less than I thought.